Well, I'll start again for the fourth time. My video for September the 15th, 2018, which is video number 2847, is entitled Divine Secret Garden Series with Jeff Daugherty. Over the past several months, I have watched, listened to numerous videos with Jeffrey, aka the Christian whistleblower. We have some things in common as related to our backgrounds. He was a Pentecostal minister, and of course, I was raised in the Assembly of God, preaching my first sermon at age 14 in Bethany Church in Paterson, New Jersey at that time. The Divine Secret Garden series is comprised of 7 books by John V. Panella. I've read some of them. As for the series by Jeffrey, I've listened to numbers 2 and 3, which were recorded last year, 2017. He quoted this, quote, "Everyone was afraid to question the Bible and our related beliefs. I began to learn that most people just repeated what they heard or were taught. Few really took time to read every word of the Bible and then study it at in-depth levels, proving to themselves something nefarious coexisted within the written word. Many also had to have most of the Bible explained to them repeatedly, as if the material was not melding within the mind properly. This is because the content was not setting right in the subconscious." And I also shared another quote from the book, although it's not in the blurb. I thought, wow, this is so simple. Why hasn't this been understood? I began to realize that there is a tendency to believe that the truth is too difficult for the average person to comprehend. Therefore, many believe that they need a church and a priest-type person to educate them. Not that I am saying this is wrong, but there comes a time after one has been nursing that they must be weaned. Indeed, it took me a long time to finally realize that something didn't jive. I read the Bible through at least 20 times over a 20-year period, 20 to 30 times over a 20-year period. From the time that I was just learning to read, at age 12, 13, I started, I think I was 13 or 14 when I started reading the Bible through every single year, sometimes twice in the same year, at least twice in my life. During in-depth studies, I went through the Bible 2 times in 1 year, one time in about 3 months, I think, if I remember correctly. In any case, I can't comprehend myself how I missed the fact that God was a split personality. That there seemed to be presented a loving God and a jealous God, a God who punishes the children to the 3rd and 4th generation for the sins of their parents, and other crazy, insane things. These are things that are glossed over by most of us because we've been so brainwashed in our society that we are unable to think rationally because the world is an irrational place. And some teachers, I don't exactly remember what Jeffrey said, but I think he says that this earth is like a training ground and we have to graduate to get to the next level. That's not supposed to happen here on earth. I hope that's not what he's saying. And if it is, I don't agree with it. I mean, I have always worked all of my life believing that the kingdom of heaven was supposed to manifest in my lifetime on this planet, not die and go somewhere else to another dimension or something. That to me would be insane. It would make human life an absolute absurdity. Is it absurd? Well, it seems absurd that the most horrendous individuals with the least amount of compassion and conscience and things like that have been put in charge. And obviously, to me, that's the situation. The elite establishment wants to kill most of the people on the planet because they can't manage them and are bringing in beings that are created with no conscience at all. And Hillary, as I've said, we came, they died. What difference does it make? That's no conscience. I want solution to that. So the divine secret garden, hopefully, I'm going to go back and spend some time looking at it more. I don't know if I didn't even check my library that I've saved. I know I had at least some of those books at one time because I've read them. But I don't know if I still have them in my library. I have to check that. And if I don't have them, maybe it's something I need to see if I can have read to me online. I'm not sure. I probably can, but I'm guessing that. In any case, folks, I, like many people, are trying to make sense out of the world. And Jeffrey is one of those. And I assume that John Panella is another one. Trying to make sense out of insanity. Can such a thing happen? I chuckle because if it's insane, how can you sanely figure it out? There's nothing to figure out. It's just craziness. And I want to end the craziness. I want a loving God to take responsibility for creation and make this secret garden no longer secret. Make it something that all human beings can experience, and where we can actually help each other to rise up and to become the best we can be. I know that sounds like so much repetition to those of you that listen to my videos regularly. It may seem like I'm stuck in a rut, and perhaps I am. Perhaps I am stuck in a rut, but I still get out and I hug my trees every day. I still get out and connect with nature. I still go to metaphysical meetings where we can discuss things. I enjoy things like that. I've enjoyed that my entire life. And I'd like to have a society and locally a grouping of people where that can happen. But I've continually had to shift groups over periods of time because I don't relate to where they are, because I don't stay in one spot exactly. I still believe in God. That's not changed because I thought I knew God. And this is something that I remember that I was saying in one of the other videos. Even as a boy, I thought that God was asking me to give up my son. Well, that wouldn't have been God. That would have been the dark forces. And I was encountering at an early age those dark forces, thinking it was God that was speaking to me. But it wasn't. It couldn't have been God. God wouldn't do such a thing. Not a loving God. A jealous God might. A God that wants to be a control freak or is a control freak. But God is love, and love is not demanding in that way. It only wants us to grow up. And that's what the whole thing is. We have to be weaned from the Bible and religion and churches and stuff like that, and learn to interact as human beings, one with another, regardless of the imposed differences that we've experienced as individuals. We need to take down the walls and build bridges and make a world that works for everybody. Isn't that what we all want? It's what I want. It's what I've wanted since I was a boy. It's why I believe I was born. Anyway, thank you folks for listening, and once again, namaste.